What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm going to talk about my top 20 favorite NASCAR drivers heading into the 2023 season for the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series. Let's go ahead and just jump straight to it. Starting off in the number 20 position, we have Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith is a driver I've had a lot of respect for, and I've liked really since the beginning of his career. Really since his ARCA days back in like 2018 and 2019, I feel like that he's a driver that's had a lot of potential to win races. And I think he is in a very extremely and a really well-talented driver. I think Chandler Smith has potential to win a Cup Series championship one day. Of course, he'll drive for Kaulig Racing this year in 2023. I really think that Chandler Smith has a lot of potential to make a lot of success, and every time he goes to victory lane, I am extremely excited. He's a great driver, works on his equipment as well, and takes care of his equipment, which is a big reason why I'm also a massive fan of Chandler Smith, and I'm really excited to see what Chandler Smith can do going into season. He is number 20 on my list. In the number 19 position, we have John Hunter Nemechek. Now, John Hunter Nemechek a few years ago would have been way higher on this list, but because of some of the antics that he's pulled on track over the last year or two, I've kind of dropped him a lot lower on this list. But I have been a John Hunter Nemechek fan really since his days when he drove for his dad in the Truck Series around 2015 and 2016. So I'm not a bandwagon fan of John Hunter Nemechek. Yes, John Hunter can be a little bit over-aggressive at times. There's no doubt about that about John Hunter Nemechek, but I really still have a lot of respect and a huge amount of respect for John Hunter Nemechek as a talent. I think he's got potential to win a lot of races in Cup one day and also win an Xfinity Series championship as well. I know he didn't win a Truck Series championship the last couple of years, but I think he's got a lot of potential to do a lot of great things in this series, and I think John Hunter has a lot of potential to do great things in NASCAR overall. He sits number 19. In the number 18 position, we have Dale Jr. Now, a lot of people are wondering why I have Dale Jr. on this list. It's because Dale Jr. is racing for 2 races in 2023. If Dale Jr. is running full-time, I'd have him a little bit higher on this list. I used to be kind of in mid with Dale Jr. a little bit as a fan. I like Dale Jr., don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as big of Dale Jr. fan as I have become now. And the reason being is because I like Dale Jr.'s personality now. He's really shown a lot of personality, and he does a really good job speaking for the sport. Great commentator, and also still is a really solid racer when he does go out and race. Dale Jr. also NASCAR Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, which is absolutely 100% deserved in my opinion. And I like Dale Jr. a lot, and I'm really excited to see what Dale Jr. can do this season in the couple races he does decide to run. But he currently sits number 18 on my list. In the number 17 position, we have Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson is making his turn in 2023, and Jimmie Johnson is also a little bit lower because Jimmie Johnson is not running the full season. But Jimmie Johnson was always one of my favorite NASCAR drivers when he raced full-time. I know the last couple years for Jimmie was not that great, and let's be honest, his tenure in IndyCar was not really that great either, outside of that really strong run he had at Texas in 2022. Jimmie really did not have a fun time racing in the IndyCar series. But I am excited to see that Jimmie Johnson is coming back. When his announced he's coming back and when it was confirmed he was coming back, I was extremely excited. Like I said, I've been always a massive, massive Jimmie Johnson fan. I know he's not really high on this list, but Jimmie's a driver I've had a lot of respect for, and I really like Jimmie Johnson at the moment. I still like Jimmie Johnson, and to me, he's one of the greatest NASCAR drivers. In fact, to me, he is the greatest NASCAR driver, in my opinion. In the number 16 position, we have Hailie Deegan. Now, there's no doubt that Hailie Deegan has not performed the greatest, but I have always been a fan of Hailie Deegan, really since her days when she did off-road. I've just been a massive fan of her because I was a big fan of Brian Deegan and what he did, and Hailie Deegan is someone who I think really can carry the sport. Another bigger reason why I'm a huge fan of Hailie Deegan is because of how she is on social media. She has a massive social media presence and a massive social media personality, which can be really good for the sport if she can succeed. I think she is a driver who has a lot of potential and does have some talent as well. Like I said, I know that in the Truck Series, she hasn't had the greatest tenure in the world, but she is going to be getting better equipment in 2023, which I really think will be able to help her talent and really showcase how good of a driver she really, really is going into this season. And I think that she would have been a little bit higher on this list if she showed a little more, but I still like Hailie Deegan a lot, and she is one of my favorite drivers. I really hope she can do great this year, and she's a driver I do have a lot of respect for going into the season. My 15th favorite driver going into the 2023 season is Parker Kligerman. I am so happy that Parker Kligerman is finally going full-time. I have always been a big fan of Parker Kligerman since his truck days back in 2012 and what he's been able to do on a part-time basis. he can always get the best out of equipment and finish races really, really well. And I think he is going to be an underdog for the championship this year as well in 2023. But not only that, Kligerman has done a really good job on TV as well. And like I said, he can always get the best out of equipment, which is something I have a ton of respect for. And he's just someone that I'm really excited to see what he can do this year with Big Machine Racing. He's a driver that a lot of people in the garage have a lot of respect for. And he's got so much potential to be a champion of the sport. And I think he could be an underdog, like I said, to win the championship. I am super pumped up and super excited to see what Kligerman can do going into 2023, and he's number 15 on my list. In the number 14 position, I have Zane Smith. Zane Smith is a driver that I kind of was a little bit hit or miss with back around 2018 and 2019, but when he came to the Truck Series and drove for GMS on a full-time basis, he really showed what he's capable of. He got 2 wins in 2020, then in 2021 had a pretty solid year getting one victory there at Martinsville, and then he won the Truck Series Championship with Farmer Motorsports in 2022. Another big reason why I'm a big fan of Zane Smith is, of course, he's driven the Armor brand cars, and he won the championship with Armor on the car, which was really excited to see. I'm an RC guy, so that's another big reason why I'm a huge fan of Zane Smith. And I think Zane Smith also has a lot of talent as well, and has got also pretty good social media following as well. And I think Zane Smith is a driver that can carry the sport, that has so much potential and has so much talent going into the next few years of his career. So I'm really excited to see what Zane Smith can do. He's going to make some starts this year in 2023, and he's a driver that I've had a lot of respect for in his career. In the number 13 position, I have Majeski. Majeski, when he won those races this past year in 2022, I became really excited. Look, Majeski a few years ago would not have been on this list, but I think Majeski is an extremely talented driver. One reason is he works on his stuff and was an engineer for Thorsport Racing before he became full-time in 2022, and really earned his way back into the graces of a lot of people, and he really showed what he's capable of in this series, which is why I became a big fan of him. People earning their way is something that I have a lot of respect for, and if you can earn your ride and earn your way into the sport, I have a ton of respect for that, and I have a lot of respect for you as a driver. I think Majeski's got a really good shot to win the Truck Championship this year, and he's someone that I'm really excited to cheer for because I really think he's got a chance with Ford this year to be extremely successful, and I'm really excited to see what he can do with Thorsport. I think he's going to have a fun time with Thorsport in 2023. In the number 12 position, I have DiBenedetto. DiBenedetto is a driver that I feel like a lot of people have kind of fallen off with, and a lot of people are probably thinking, how are you still a DiBenedetto fan considering what happened in 2021? Look, there's no doubt what happened to DiBenedetto was very, very frustrating. How he kind of handled that situation near the end of the year was really frustrating. But at the end of the day, I have been a DiBenedetto fan since 2015, and also in 2016 when he had that really strong run at Bristol. And I think DiBenedetto still has a lot of talent and a lot of potential to be successful in this series. And I know a lot of people give him crap for how he didn't perform great at Rackley, but I think he actually did a really solid job. He just barely missed the playoffs in 2022, but he also got his first career Truck Series win at Talladega. So it's not like DiBenedetto is a bad driver or nothing. He's a really good driver, in my opinion, a very underrated driver, and was the best driver to form at the Wood Brothers outside of Ryan Blaney. He's the best driver to form at the Wood Brothers in the last 10 years, really. So I really think that Matty D's got so much potential to do a lot of great things. I would love for him one day to get an opportunity to come back to the Cup Series because I think he deserves another shot. He's still young enough. I mean, he's only going to be, 32 years of age at the start of this season. So he's still young enough where I think he could be extremely successful maybe in Cup one day. And I still have a ton of respect for DiBenedetto. In the number 11 position, I have Christopher Bell. Christopher's a driver I've had a lot of respect for really since he got to the Truck Series in 2015. Chris Bell's extremely talented, won in like his second or third truck start at Eldora, then won the Truck Championship in 2017 in really deserving fashion, and has done a lot of great things in the sport. Had a breakout year in the Cup Series in 2022, where he scored 3 victories, getting one of the highest number winning season of the year. I like Chris Bell because of how talented he is. I think Chris Bell could be a Hall of Famer one day in this series, and I think he's someone that really could help carry the sport long term if he can continue to be as successful as he was in 2022. And I think he's got a lot of potential to do that, and that's why I'm a huge fan of him, because while he may not have the greatest personality in the world, he's got a really good dirt background as well, and I'm a huge fan of dirt drivers as well, and I've loved seeing all the success a lot of these dirt guys who come in the ranks and have really done great and been extremely successful. And that's why I'm a big fan of Chris Belt, because he's someone that's come from the dirt world and has been extremely successful. In the number 10 position, I have Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's been getting a little lower on this list every single year, but that's no disrespect to Alex Bowman. I am still a massive fan of Alex Bowman. When he got the shot and opportunity to drive for Hendrick Motorsports in 2016, he technically did drive for Junior Motorsports in 2016. He did pretty solid in the 88 car and nearly won at Phoenix, and unfortunately Matt Kenseth made a mistake and kind of screwed Alex Bowman there. Then he got an opportunity with Hendrick Motorsports starting in 2018. While he didn't win a race there, he made the playoffs. Then in 2019, he got to go full-time, got his first career win in the Cup Series in 2019, and also he got a couple wins in 2021 as well. Got one win in 2022. And I think Bowman also, a lot of people say he doesn't have a big, great personality. Alex Bowman has a fantastic personality. I don't know why people say he doesn't, because I think he has a really good personality too. And that's a big reason why I'm a huge fan of Alex Bowman, because he has a great personality and has also a really strong sense of humor as well. So I'm a big fan of Alex Bowman, and hope he can stay long-term with Hendrick. He's a driver I have a lot of respect for. In the number 9 position, I have Kyle Busch. If you would have told me about a few years ago that Kyle Busch would even be in the top 10 or even in the top 20 on this list, I would have laughed at you. I used to not be a Kyle Busch fan back in the day. I'm going to be honest. And the reason being is because I didn't like Kyle Busch's personality. But one thing I've learned about Kyle Busch, especially over the last couple of years, is Kyle Busch has a character that he uses. Because outside of basically the character he is, Kyle Busch is really nice in public to a lot of people, and a lot of people have a lot of respect for him. Plus, another big reason why I have become more of a Kyle Busch fan is because of the fact that Kyle Busch is an extremely talented driver. I think he's one of the greatest NASCAR drivers ever graced the sport in general, and he's been able to succeed in a lot of ways. Sure, he wasn't my favorite driver at the beginning, but over the years, I've grown to grow a lot of respect for Kyle Busch as a person in this series, and I'm really excited to see what Kyle Busch can actually do long-term in this series for the next few years of Rich Schultz Racing. I think he's going to be a championship threat this season, and I'm so excited to see what Kyle Busch can do this year at RCR, but he's definitely one of my favorite drivers for sure. In the number 8 position, I have William Byron. William Byron, I've been a fan of since 2016, when he got to the Truck Series. Won a ton of races. In my opinion, he should have won the championship. Yes, of course, he wouldn't have won the championship with the format, the old Winston Cup format, with the Truck Series format, but the reason he wouldn't have won the title is because of the fact he had that engine failure. He would have won the championship without that engine failure by a pretty wide margin over Johnny Sauter that season. Now, Johnny Sauter did go on to win the title in 2016, but I've been a big fan of William Byron since. William Byron doesn't have like the biggest personality in the world. There's no doubt about that. But one reason I have a lot of respect for William Byron is because of his talent. Now, he definitely needs to start stepping it up here, because this is going to be his his 6th full-time season. And William Byron has only had 4 career victories up to this point. So I really want to see William Byron kind of step up and really come out of his shell and really improve as a driver. That being said, though, I'm a big fan of William Byron's, and I have a lot of respect for William Byron going into the season. In the number 7 position, I have Josh Berry. Josh Berry is my favorite Xfinity Series driver by a wide stretch of the margin. I love Josh Berry. This guy is an absolutely incredible talent. He's a driver that I have become a massive fan of over the years, and I have a ton of respect for Josh Berry in this series. I mean, absolutely, Josh Berry is a great talent. He's a great driver. He's been able to succeed in late models and bring a lot to that series, and he's a driver that I think could win a Cup Series championship one day. I love Josh Berry a lot, and I think he's got a chance to win the title this year in Xfinity, and I just cannot wait to see him one day get to the Cup Series, maybe with Junior Motorsports, because Junior has indicated that he wants to go to the Cup Series in the future. I would love for them in 2024 to get the opportunity to do that, and if they decide to go to Cup, I think they need to bring Josh Berry up, because that guy can get the best out of equipment. He came this series. I'm pumped to see what Josh Berry can do, and I cannot wait to see what Josh Berry will be capable of doing in 2023. In the number 6 position, I have Tyler Reddick. I am a massive fan of Tyler Reddick, and I've grown to be a bigger Tyler Reddick fan over the years. He is an extremely awesome driver. In fact, I think he's a generational talent and a future Cup Hall of Famer and a future Cup Series champion. He had a big breakout year in the NASCAR Cup Series this past year, and he was absolutely incredible. I used to not be the biggest fan of Tyler Reddick, though, back in the day, because I kind of thought Tyler Reddick didn't earn the championship in 2018, but it really wasn't his fault. That's just how the system is. I still think Reddick is absolutely great. He's got a great personality as well and a great sense of humor as well, which is why I'm also a big fan of Tyler Reddick's. But I'm excited to see what he can do at 23-11 this year because I think he's going to be a championship threat and a championship contender. I was cheering. I'm a huge fan of Chase Elliott, by the way, and I was more happy for Reddick to win that Road America race because he deserved it more than Chase Elliott did in that race. But like I said, I'm a massive fan of Tyler Reddick, and I love Reddick a lot, and he's a really, really good driver. So I'm excited to see what he can do, and he sits number 6 on this list. In the number 5 position, I have Martin Truex Jr. Now look, there's no doubt Martin Truex Jr. has kind of fallen a little bit lower on my list because Martin Truex Jr. is a driver that used to be number 2 or even number 3 on my list. But he's fallen down on my list just a little bit. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Martin Truex Jr. a lot. I think he's a great talent, a great driver, and I think and the reason I'm a huge fan of his is because he basically kind of had a rags to riches story and went to Furniture Racing and hands down won the championship fair and square. And if you would have seen my reaction in 2017 when he won that championship, I was cheering, I was jumping up and down, I was excited for him to win that championship because I love Martin Truex Jr. winning that title. He's someone I've had a lot of respect for. He's got a great not the greatest personality, even though he's kind of showed it near the end of the 2022 season, basically flipping the bird off to the car, which I found really, really hilarious near the end of the season. But I like Martin Truex Jr. a lot. First ballot Hall of Famer for me, and he's someone that I really like on this list. In the number 4 position, I have Bubba Wallace. Now, Bubba Wallace, there's no doubt about that. He's a controversial driver, so people are going to be surprised I have him this high on this list. Bubba Wallace is someone I've grown a lot of respect for. There's no doubt that he needs to definitely improve going into 2023 and show his stuff, which I think he's going to be capable of doing. But there's not a lot of drivers that I get excited for more and cheer for more than a driver like Bubba, because Bubba is someone that I've grown to respect in this series and someone who has really shown his craft and what he is capable of. And I think he's a better driver than people give credit for, and especially in 2022 near the end of the year, he was one of the best drivers. At one point, he had one of the best average finishes, and I think that's going to play a role in really helping Bubba Wallace out going into this season, because I think he's a great talent, he's a great driver, is very talented, and I think he's someone who can do great in the series. I don't think he's ever going to win a championship in Cup, but I think he's a driver I have a lot of respect for, and he's really grown a lot of help in the diversity, and he's done a great thing for the series in that, which has been great to see. So he's number 4 on my list because I like him a lot. In the number 3 position, I have Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, been a fan of for a very, very long time, since 2013. Ryan Blaney's a driver, great personality, great sense of humor, and a very talented driver. He hasn't been that championship caliber driver yet, which I really would love to see from Ryan Blaney, but he's a driver that I've grown over the years, and I think he will be, I think he could be a champion one day. He's still young enough. He's only, going to be 30 this year? So he's still got a lot of time and a lot of potential to get a Cup Series championship down here in the future, and I just think Ryan Blaney is someone who can carry the sport if he can start winning a lot more races, because like I said, he's got a great personality and is someone that I think could do a really good job for the sport long term, and I think he will continue to do that as a driver respectfully in this series. So I like Ryan Blaney a lot. He's one of my favorite drivers, and I think that he is a very, very well-talented and a really respected driver in this series, in my honest opinion. In the runner-up in the number 2 position, I have Chase Elliott. I have been a Chase Elliott fan since 2013. Watching him win that truck race, even though he kind of intentionally wrecked Ty Dillon, let's be for real, he intentionally wrecked Ty Dillon in that race, I have been a Chase Elliott fan because of the Elliott name. My dad was a big fan of Bill Elliott back in the day, and Chase Elliott is a driver that I've always had respect for. I think he is a first ballot Hall of Famer already, in my opinion. Yes, I know that he hasn't had a lot of wins up to this point, though he has nearly 20. But I think Chase Elliott is going to win a lot more races. He's already champion in the series at a young age. He's only going to be 28 near the end of the year, so he has so much potential to win a lot more races and win more championships. And he could win a second championship this year in 2022. And I think he's got a lot of potential to really do that as a driver. Plus, I think his personality has grown. He's winning a lot of races. He's young. He's got so much to go. And I think he's going to win around 50 to 60 races in his NASCAR Cup Series career, which is really, really great, by the way, for a driver like Chase Elliott. And I have a ton of respect and a lot for Chase Elliott that I give. So I'm excited to see what we can do this year. And I get excited every time Chase Elliott wins. And my favorite driver going into the 2023 season is Kyle Larson. I think a lot of you know why I'm a big Kyle Larson fan. I have been a Kyle Larson fan for 10 years. Longer than most drivers on this list except a couple. Kyle Larson, is a lot of reasons why I'm a fan of his. Number one, I think he is one of the best talents we've seen in the last 10 to 15 years. In fact, I think he's the best talent since Joey Logano to come into this sport. I saw that in 2012, and that's why I became a fan. I watched that Homestead race where he was dominating that race and probably should have won before Ty Dillon kind of screwed him over right there. One of the reasons why I'm not the biggest Ty Dillon fan nowadays. Well, actually, it's 10 years, so I shouldn't be mad at him about that. But still, I've been a fan of Larson down for a very long time. He's a generational talent. He's someone who's incredible. Got a great personality as well. A driver who's shown it. I know he's kind of had to held back due to the situation that happened in 2020. But Larson is an extremely talented driver, and every time he wins a race, I get extremely pumped up and extremely excited. Even though sometimes I know he made mistakes in 2022, hope he can clean a lot of those mistakes he made in 2022 up in 2023. But I have so much respect for Kyle Larson as a driver in this series because I think he's a great driver. He's also first ballot Hall of Famer like Chase Elliott in my opinion. And I think he's an absolutely fantastic driver and someone who can win a lot more races, around 60 to 70 races in his career. He's done nearly 120 up to this point. He had a dominating race at Homestead that he deserved, and I was so excited to see him win. He's a great personality, and he's my favorite driver in NASCAR heading into 2023. So those are the 20 drivers who are my favorite. Now let's go to the honorable mentions and drivers that didn't make the list. And trust me, there's a lot of drivers that I'm excited to see. First, Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson came this close to making the list. I love Noah Gragson a lot. Got a great personality. I'm not sure he's going to do in Cup, though. He didn't do fantastic in Cup in the select starts he had, but the reason I like Noah Gragson a lot is because of his personality. The reason he didn't make the list, I really don't know. I probably should have included him on this list, but I like Noah Gragson a lot and have a lot of respect for him. Next, Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch would have absolutely been on this list if he had been confirmed at this point. There's still a chance Kurt Busch could race in 2023. We'll have to wait and see, but he's a driver I also like a lot, and to me, a first ballot Hall of Famer. Next, Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, I've kind of not been as big a Kevin Harvick fan as I used to be back when basically in the mid 2010s, but I still like Kevin Harvick a lot. Great talent, someone who's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Next, Parker Retzlaff. I like Parker Retzlaff a lot. This kid is a future sensation in sport. 19 years of age, had no worse finish besides 21st, except in one race, which was a mechanical failure at Phoenix in the beginning of the year. He's qualified great, got top 10s, top 15s, extremely consistent, and someone who could probably do a lot of good things in the sport. Next, Nick Sanchez. Love this kid a lot. Nick Sanchez, future star in the making, in my opinion. Could have a breakout year in the Truck Series with Rev Racing. Like him a lot. Have a ton of respect for him. Next, Corey Heim. Corey Heim, saw him win a Gateway, which I was really excited to see him go out there and win. A lot of potential, a lot of great things coming from that kid. He's someone that I think could really win a Cup Series championship one day as well and do fantastic in the series. Next, Justin Allgaier. I like Justin Allgaier a lot. I've been a Justin Allgaier fan really since back in the Turner Scott days, and back really since the Team Penske days. He's kind of a local person because he lives kind of close to the Worldwide Technology area. I think he's kind of close to the lives close to the racetrack. So, big fan of his. Next, Raja Karuf. Raja, I love Raja Karuf. This kid is really, really good. I think someone that really can do great things for the sport as well. Just haven't had enough statistics to back it up yet, but I think he'll win some races this year in trucks. Next, AJ Allmendinger. Came close to making it on the list. Great personality. Love his personality. Every time he wins, it's fun to watch. Great talent as well. In my opinion, probably actually the best road course racer in the sport currently at the moment. I wanted to add a couple more quick honorable mentions in the people that I did not get on the main list. First one being Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain is a driver that I've grown and have had a lot of respect for. Yes, he can be over-aggressive, which is one of the reasons why I did not put him on the list. But after that Martinsville wall ride he basically had, which is one of the most incredible moves I've ever seen, he's a driver that I have a ton of respect for, and I think he was someone who can really carry the sport in the future long term. The other one I wanted to add is Eric Jones. Eric Jones, I think, is a very underrated driver, one of the most underrated drivers in NASCAR today, and could be a driver who has a really good chance to make the playoffs in 2023. I think he's got a really good opportunity and a really good chance to make the playoffs. And finally, Kyle Weatherman. This is a driver probably you guys did not expect to see on here, but I love Kyle Weatherman. He's actually got one more besides him, but I love Kyle Weatherman a lot. Great talent, great potential, do great things. If you gave him a top-tier ride, he would do fantastic. I like Kyle Weatherman a lot. Finally, Carson Hocevar. Carson didn't make the list because of some of his antics from his past year. I like Carson a lot, though. I know he's kind of having some issues with Brett Griffin on Twitter right now, but great talent, great driver. Should have won a couple races last year, but it is what it is. So, that is for today's special video. I want to thank us for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel, notifications on to be notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Links go down below over that, and comment below your thoughts below on today's video. Who are your top 20 favorite NASCAR drivers heading into the 2023 season? Let me know in the comments below. Tomorrow on my channel, I'm going to have another couple special videos on this channel over the next couple days, and the reason being is because it's my birthday. Special videos coming out because my birthday is 3 days. Well, it's not today. My birthday is this upcoming Tuesday, so it's 3 days away. 2 days from when you guys are actually watching this video, or whenever you are watching. It might be my birthday at this point, but I got a lot of content on the way that you're really going to be excited about. So anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for some more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.